Friday the 25th of December 1998, a Christmas I'll never forget, with great family times, ties, and the time I first got Tekken 3 and Croc, Legend of the Gobbos. To be honest, at that point I didn't know much about Croc, but remember watching magazines and game shows that demonstrated the game. I'm still not sure how my brothers or anyone picked up on this or how I got those games, but man, the amount of times I played Croc over and over without getting sick of it, countless. I loved playing sports as a kid, but afterwards, I'd always be right back at it. But let's track it back to the mid-90s, which was indeed a fascinating time for gaming for many reasons. An age where creaking 16-bit consoles were slapping add-ons to their systems to drag an extra ounce of blood out of them. The popularity of handheld consoles resulted in the Virtual Boy, a somewhat silly concept that amazingly came from the same mastermind who thought up the Game Boy, resulting in classic systems like the 3DO and the CDI. The Nintendo 64, the Sony PlayStation and Sega Saturn were the future, and the future was three-dimensional. Just like the previous dawn of the gaming tech in the 1980s, the future was to begin with influential platforming experiences. So we got Bug, Fade to Black, and the largely forgotten yet massively important Jumping Flash, the first fully 3D platformer video game in 1995. Then of course the bar was well and truly set in 1996, when Super Mario 64 hit shelves and changed gaming forever. Oh, let's not forget Bubsy 3D, which released the same year and, well...
Never play Bubsy.
Every good has some bad, I guess. As 1997 approached with the three roaming 3D platformer genre pretty much owned by Super Mario 64 and the Nintendo 64, there was room for a king to be crowned on the other 32-bit consoles. Thus, after being rejected as a spin-off Yoshi-themed 3D platformer by Nintendo, Argonaut Software were ready to release upon the world a crocodile with eyes popping out of his skull. Yes, the time was ripe for Croc, Legend of the Gobbos on PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, PC and the Game Boy. Croc, the orphan crocodile, was rescued from a basket in the river by the King of the Gobbos, a furry race of furball things that lived a peaceful life, seemingly keeping to themselves, until suddenly Baron Dante turns up, enslaves the Gobbos and kidnaps the king. Croc is teleported to safety before setting about getting his not-so-bloody revenge, rescuing the Gobbos and becoming a legend. Croc is by no means an original idea, but avoids the pitfall of copying its inspirations. The controls and movements have a certain flow and a fantastic feeling of momentum, so you can run, swerve and jump your way through the game. This combines with a fantastic one-button turn and phase action, lets you switch directions seamlessly and keeps the momentum flowing. The graphics were bright, cartoony and perfectly themed, and the soundtrack, man, just beautifully complemented the game and created an uplifting and charming experience. It's one of the better gaming soundtracks you'll ever likely to hear, and just listening to it brings back waves of nostalgia. The second game, Croc 2, builds on the experience and added more polish to the gameplay and the level design, with beautifully crafted Cobbo villages, enemies and boss fights. I still remember Dante's epic return, the Dantinis, the story, which was about Croc stopping his evil antagonist, saving the Gobbos, all in the while looking for his long-lost parents. And not to mention the epic soundtrack which added to the ambience of the game. A series which can easily spawn a third title. Or perhaps it's best to leave this diamond unpolished. A remake of the first two? Where do we sign up? I still feel there's enough life in the series to make it happen. I'll always treasure these titles which produced many great memories. We'll never forget Croc, which was to us a great series. This retro rewind is a dedication to the somewhat forgotten, charming and very nostalgic Croc, Legend of the Gobbos and the epic sequel Croc 2.